How the heck are everybody? I'm Fastidious. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to a guide on Kria. And I'm going to cut right to the chase. Well, first let me say welcome to the Fastidious test server. This is test server content. We are not in a real server right now. This is just a playground. We're just hanging out. However, let's cut right to the chase. I don't want any clickbait. I'm going to throw some screenshots up on the screen right now of 3 runs I did earlier. They were the exact same run. The only thing that changed is who the primary DPS was, and then the other people were taken out, right? So you'll see the runs later if you want to stick around. But one was with Kria, one was with Morrigan, and one was with Iona, wearing exactly the same gear, exactly the same artifact, all of them with full skill ups. Iona was A1, but I didn't even bring Iona to A3 or A5, just A1 for Iona. The 2 legendaries were at A0, and you can see Kria did not do that great. She wasn't bad at all. Like, Iona's very good and Morrigan is fantastic, don't get me wrong. That being said, she is a 10x, she is a new hero, so I'm not saying I like power creep, but she needs to be special for me to go off and tell people to summon for her, and she is not special. There are people that might want her. If you don't have any AoE mages, any AoE magic damage dealers, she's a strong choice. If you love cultists, she could fit into a team very nicely. But all in all, there's only one unique ability she brings, and not even unique, one utility ability, I should say, and that will be her slows. We'll break that down in a second. Aside from that, she's a damage dealer, and she's solid. She's like average. She's not special at all. In a world where Comet exists and Virna exists, and even people like Morrigan or even Iona exist, she falls short. And I just think that's the short of it. Then we'll break everything down in a guide right now, but I do want to be transparent, and I do want to get the information out there because the banner is going live in like a day and a half. Or sorry, like half a day, excuse me. What is this? Let me do some math, like 15 hours. So I want people to be informed. I don't think you should be pulling on this 10x. You'll see that in another video later, but there you go. Let's talk about Kria. So what is really cool about Kria is she has the highest base attack of any mage in the game. That's very neat. However, this base attack does not match with very high multipliers, unfortunately. You can see she's a summoner hero. She summons these crows. I wish the animation on that was better. You'll see that later. It's very hard to see them, and there's certainly no way that I can see that shows when they are being summoned. And then it's continuous damage, so that's why I wanted to compare her to Morrigan originally. And then when I saw her damage be not that good, I was like, wait, is Iona better than her? And I think in terms of damage, and even in terms of slows, I do think Iona's just better than her. Granted, Iona's a super rare epic. She's very hard to get unless you have $5, but I think most people in this game probably do spend the $5 and get Iona. So I just think, all right, let's get into that later. She's kind of cool. Super high base attack. The HP is fine. One interesting thing, she's got a slightly slow attack interval. I do wonder if they gave her a nice, quick, speedy attack interval, like maybe at least more in line with someone like Virna. Not that Virna is lightning quick, but Virna at least has what seems to be the average attack interval in this game of 2.6, and that's with Virna not even benefiting from attack speed. Or maybe even faster, give her like a 2.4 or a 2.0, then we could see some proper damage out of her. I think there are tweaks that could be made beyond just multipliers that could make her a lot more relevant, as you're going to see later. But she has the same attack interval as, where is she? As Mommy Morrigan, but Morrigan is just better. She's going to do more damage, and on top of that, Morrigan is a crazy legendary lord with a fantastic lord skill. I don't think it would be so unreasonable to make her a little faster than Morrigan, so she does at least as much damage as Morrigan, given the fact that Morrigan has these fantastic lord skills and craziness, all these buffs to her faction allies, whereas all that Kria is bringing is some kind of mediocre DPS. So there you have it on, I think that basically covers it there. Super standard raid region auto at 14. Let's go into actually my roster now here on the test server and see her skills and see how I personally have her built. So let's look at this kit right here. A bit of a confusing kit. It's similar kind of again to Morrigan, whereas Morrigan, where are you hiding, honey? Morrigan down here. Morrigan, her whole kit is built around these cursed bombs. Kria's whole kit is built around these storm crows. So these are, they said she was a summoner hero. This is what she summons. It's these crows. So the storm crows follow the target and attack 1 time every 4 seconds after reaching the target. Each strike deals 70% AoE damage to nearby enemies. Up to 5 storm crows can exist simultaneously, and each can last for 15 seconds. So there you go. They're kind of cool. If you want to know how you get them, within 10 seconds, every 3 enemies killed in the basic attack range summons 1 Stormcrow. So the only way she's really going to work and operate in this whole kit is going to synergize is when you are on a stage where there are tons and tons of mobs and you can kind of count on 3 dying every 10 seconds, right? So it's basically like Gear Raid 1, maybe some content that doesn't exist yet, maybe some of the experience raids or the gold raids, but you need tons of mobs coming at you and you need them dying. At first I thought she had to kill them, which would make this even wonkier. However, they just have to die in her basic attack range. So I guess be cognizant of where you are killing the enemies, or I guess how you stack other DPS next to her. She's not your only damage dealer, right? Deals an additional 10% damage to slowed enemies. That's the Stormcrow, as well as the hero, actually. So slow works really well, and let's see, her kit does give a little slow. Let's go through it. Attacks and everything you see here, guys, will be fully skilled up. Obviously, I maxed her out. Attack inflicts 90% AoE damage on up to 3 enemies within attack range. So it's up to a 3 multi-target hit, 90% AoE damage. It's not bad, but it's not crazy. It's solid, right? It's just solid. A lot of what she does is just solid. On to the first passive, Killer Crows. When the effect of Necro Storm Assault ends, that is the ultimate, we'll get to that in a second, but when the ultimate ends, enhances every Stormcrow on the field summoned by the hero, which is every Stormcrow on the field. No one else is summoning Stormcrows. Increasing their attack by 30% and allowing them to inflict slow. So that's how we get our slow here. It is only a 50% slow, so many epics and even rare heroes do 75% slow. It's pretty frustrating to see a legendary hero doing a 50% slow. I will say it's 3 seconds, which is solid. So they're going to inflict the slow with each attack. The effect lasts for up to 15 seconds. I believe they're saying up to 15 seconds because theoretically, if you were spamming the ult, if you had tons of rage regen, which we actually do bring into the comp, you're going to see shortly in Gear Raid 1, you could maintain pretty good uptime on the Killer Crows passive. Then the next passive, Feasts for Crows. So a little Game of Thrones action here. When a Stormcrow disappears, increases the hero's damage by 5%, lasting for 15 seconds. This effect can be stacked up to 5 times. Kind of cool. It's like I said, it's really hard. One thing I've enjoyed a lot about this game is visually, I mean, there's chaos on the screen, right? But once you get used to it, you kind of know what's going on. Maybe I just would have to get used to Kria, but it's very hard for me to tell when Stormcrows are there, when they're being summoned, when they're disappearing. So it's hard to track, you know, if I'm getting 5%, if it's 1 stack, or maybe 3 stacks for 15, or all 5 stacks for up to 25%. It's kind of cool, but it's just weird. There's a lot of verbiage being thrown at us and a lot of conditional things and a lot of times, and there's no in-game clock on these stages, which frustrates me to no end. So it feels very like plug and play, in that you really aren't tracking and appreciating what's going on with this hero. Maybe that's why I don't really like her. And then finally, the ultimate strikes enemies in range with lightning 3 times, dealing 130% AoE damage, and that is the target. I mean, that is the total damage. That's how potent the hit is when she's fully skilled up. So only 130% times 3, up to 10 enemies each time. So the only way this is going to be a really good ult is if there are like 10 enemies there, right? Because if it's 1 person, it's going to be 390%, right? When she's skilled up. However, if you've got 10 enemies, then in total, she's dealing like 3,900% damage. That's kind of cool. But it's just, she's really geared towards, the way many cultists are, she's really geared towards AoE content and tons of mobs. That's why we will be bringing her into Gear Raid 1. Okay, so let me show you the build now. I did give her probably the best build you've seen me put on a hero in the test server. They sent us some new gear, and if you hung around this long, it's time for a little surprise. If you guys make it to the end of this video, you will see there are 2 brand new gear sets in the game, and actually one of our heroes, not her, but one of the heroes we're bringing into the fight, I'll show it off at the end, is wearing one of those sets, and it's very cool. I will put content out on those specific sets and everything you need to know about them within 1 or 2 days from when this video releases. However, I just want a little teaser now because it is pretty cool. But they did send me a ton of gear in the mail, which total tangent here, but it's infuriating because let me just show you. So in the mail, I have all this gear. It's plenty. These guys just go on forever. And I don't have Pantheon because it's the test server. I mean, I'm not farming faction trials here. So my gear inventory only goes up to 800. So I woke up one day and there was like 1,400 pieces in here and I couldn't do any content. So they forced me to do a gear cleanse. That's my little rant. It was very frustrating. Anyway, let's move right along to Kria. So you can see she's a great candidate for Soulbound Arcana. Moreover, the two heroes we were going to compare her against, Iona and Morrigan, are also great candidates for Soulbound Arcana. So what makes someone a good candidate for Soulbound Arcana? Well, you want their ult happening pretty quickly, because the more frequently their ult happens, the more quickly they build up to that 50% permanent increase in damage, which is fantastic, because you get a 10% permanent increase up to 5 times every time an ult is triggered. So the faster you trigger 5 ults, the faster you're going to get an increase in 50%. I also went for Warlord over here. She does have a decently high attack interval, not crazy, but 3.0 seconds, as I said. So it helps to get that down. So we need some attack speed on her, and then just attack's gonna go great on her. As I said, she has tremendous base attack, tremendous. 5200 is really, really high for a mage, highest in the game we have right now. So with all the different things you see, I got her over 22,000 attacks. So a pretty juiced up build here. I'll just click through the pieces here, basically going for attack bonus main on everything. And then when I could, getting some crit stats and some attack speed. So not the greatest gear in the world, still is not on the test server. It's going to take me a while. It's very hard for me to farm on a laptop. But you can see attack bonus crit rate, no attack speed here, but we got plenty over there. And we're also getting it from the set. And then one nice, really big attack bonus roll, kind of meh with the crit damage and the crit rate. But all in all, it's a solid build. And this is exactly the same build that I will feature on Iona and on Morrigan. So the stats in total, we are looking at 22,000.3 attack, so 22.3k attack. The attack speed is an additional 191, so 291 for her. That translates to a reduction in 1.1 second on the attack interval. Solid crit rate at 84%, and then 195.5% crit damage. So not tons of crit damage, but it's, you know, it's a solid build. This is like a nice late game build. This is not some goated end game build. I think it's realistic for a lot of people to reach this, and we did get to go with the Soulbound Arcana set, which certainly helps. We also will feature in terms of artifact in Tears of Starlight. I really think Tears of Starlight is just about as good as it gets for mages, for damage dealing mages. Attack is increased by 30% when deployed. When HP is lower than 80%, the attack increase effect is reduced to 15%. It's basically going to be at 30% the whole time. We managed this fight quite well. We're going to bring her into gear raid 119. Yeah, she's gonna do fine. So let's. I think that basically covers everything I wanted to do with her. I guess we could very, very, very briefly talk about her design. She's got this shamanic kind of, I don't know, little desert princess or desert priestess thing going on. She's got a little skull here, the little headdresses. It looks like this must be the skull of a crow. It's pretty cool. I mean, the artwork in this game is great. A lot of glowing stuff you see all the time, lightning-y glowing stuff. It works. It works. Probably, I'd think she looked awesome. I would think she looked awesome if she was awesome in terms of what she actually does. So let's go into Gear Raid 1 here. Another little teaser you can see. I actually don't know about this yet. I checked the battle. It is the same Gear Raid 3 fight. However, they changed the way the Succubus Queen looks, so it no longer looks like Zealatu. So what does that mean? I don't know. Okay, into Gear Raid 1. 119, you can see Power of Dominance is off. Most recently, we ran her with Iona. We ran the fight, excuse me, with Iona. Let's put Kria in, and I think what we're gonna do, I'm gonna show you the whole Kria fight right now. Those screenshots obviously were from earlier when I was testing, so now you get to see now. And before people complain, I know it's only about 80 to 85% crit rate, but I do think that's more realistic, and over a long form fight like this, I do think it should end up evening out pretty well. There's gonna be a large sample size of hits that she will do, and then Morrigan will do, and then Iona will do. So Morrigan, she's just there for the Lord skill. That's it. Just because I want to show them at their max potential. After this, we'll take Kria out, and Morrigan can be the DPS and run the Lord skill for herself, and then Iona will come in and we won't deploy Morrigan. So without further ado, let's head on into this fight. So I'll show you this fight in real time, then we'll do a very sped up version of Morrigan, very sped up version of Iona, and then we'll just, at the end, I'll give my final thoughts, and I'll quickly show the builds, and I'll show off that really fun set that one of these heroes here is wearing. Okay, so Kria, 21 costs. I forgot to mention that. She has the standard mage attack range, you know, the same as almost everyone we see. I guess her basic attack range is really important because you need people to die in that range to summon the crows. You need 3 enemies to die in that range within 10 seconds to summon the crows. Very, very conditional, very specific. But 21 costs, kind of high. So she's 4 costs higher than Morrigan. Granted, I know Morrigan's an awesome legendary lord, but she's just kind of worse than Morrigan in every single way, aside from Morrigan being a lord. All right, so let's hop in. Let's wait. I will also say this will turn into a mini Lasir showcase because God, Lasir is so freaking good for this stuff. And then we'll put in Autumn, my absolute queen. Let's wait to load up. I guess this could also be like a mini Gear Raid 119 guide, especially if you're gonna run a Cultist team. I've done tons and tons and tons of takeovers on Gear Raid 119. The past, by tons and tons, I mean like 3 different accounts, but over like the past 36 to 48 hours. So this is what I find to be the most reliable setup. Let's get a little trigger, because we're gonna be in decent control, I'm not gonna wait for the heal effect to go on Lasir. I'm just gonna trigger. Ooh, I should have already triggered Autumn. We'll be okay. Placing Hollow down so we can get some heals going. Hollow is at A5, but at A1, she's gonna get those rage boosts. Let's get Reeve down. One little other mini rant I can go on is the owner of this account before me, because right when I started, I was able to get the test server so fast because someone had quit the game, an old content creator, and he chose to A5 so many legendaries, which is really annoying, because that means I have to pull new copies basically to show them off their base level. And someone like Reeve, I can't just pull Reeve, so I don't get to have Reed at his base level, which is quite annoying. Okay, let's get Iona down now. Eloin, and let's wait to load up. Okay, we can do some trigger, no issues there. We'll get a lot more rage regen now between Hollow and Eloin simultaneously. Something I just learned, I forget who told me in the comments, but Eloin is generating rage for the whole team regardless of whether the allies are in her attack range. I didn't know that, so that's pretty cool. We can trigger her again. Let's get a little Seer action going. I'm not gonna be too diligent about my timings here because we are gonna be in pretty proper control the whole fight. I will wait on Maul there. But yeah, this is how I like to set it up, especially if I have Eloin. I like putting Eloin and Maul on the other side. Maul can do some nice DPS if you need, but moreover, I'd rather just have him far away and spamming his freezes, his slows, his damage. Helps a lot. Okay, let's get a trigger there on Autumn. Let's get a trigger. So that Lasir trigger did line up really nice. Look at that, no heals. Well, I guess everyone's dead. But I will say, take a note, guys, here of where the health bar of the wall is. It is not going to look like that when we bring Morgan in, and honestly, it's not even going to look like that when we bring our girl Iona in. Okay, let's get some trigger here to block those heals. Trigger. You can see we're in complete control. This is quite a good comp. A good Cultist team goes a long way. Morgan is really helpful. She's really good, obviously. Let's let these guys load up a bit. Let's get some freezes from Maul. A5 Maul really is a blessing. I am going to sit on this until Dolores is ready, just so we can maintain complete control. All right, so let's get a trigger. It actually lined up quite well in the end with Lasir, so we should get a full heal block here. You can see very little green. Oh, there is green. I don't know what Lasir is doing. I guess it wasn't able to land on everyone. But you can see the wall health is still looking good. Definitely something to keep an eye on. At this point, we probably could just start spamming. I will spam there for the heal block from Lasir. There goes Kria. And I will follow the exact same strategy for the next 2 fights. I will speed them up, but that's just for your own convenience. But you can see the wall is at, like, it lost maybe a bit more than a quarter of its health, so we were in total control. However, that is going to be a lot more precarious than what we will see with the other fights from the other 2 girls. So in the end, let's take down the boss now. Trigger. All right, down she goes, and pretty solid fight. So what I wanted to show there is, and you'll see the stats now, Kria is like good, like she's fine. She's not special at all. Like the slows she's bringing are not as good as like the slows Lasir is doing, right? It's nice that she has a touch of slows, but I don't know if you were paying attention. I'm not seeing the crow animations much at all. Maybe I'm just blind, and I'm certainly not seeing when they are summoned and when they disappear. So that's not great. I guess we can save that auto. I'll show you the stats now. You can see the damage is, it is what it is. You know, she's our main damage dealer, but we'll bring Morgan in right now, and the damage is gonna exceed this for sure. Like she is what? About 50% higher than what Lasir's putting out. It's solid. You can see Reeve did a lot there. Granted, I wish we had like a normal Reeve to use. I could probably have done this without Reeve, but alas, we have an A5 Reeve. But there you go. I'll pull it up one more time. Now I'm very quickly, and I'll speed this part up. I'm gonna do it, just move exactly all the gear she is wearing onto Morgan. We'll do the fight with Morgan. I'll show you the stats at the end. Then all of that gear again from Morgan to Iona, and then we'll wrap things up. All right, guys, so there you go. We're down to just the boss. You can just see how much health the boss has left, has remaining when we've already killed all the mobs. That can kind of just give you a sense of how much better we did. You can also look at the wall. The wall only has lost maybe like 8 to 10% health. Yeah, Morgan did better. We'll look at the stats right now. Down she goes. And before people start yelling in the comments or yelling at the screen that, like, of course Morgan did better, I don't think that's an of course. I think a lot of times the legendary lords are good, properly good, and then have amazing skills and lord skills, right? Specifically, like the bonuses that are giving to the team and their faction allies. However, you know, you don't expect them to do, what is this? I forget what she put up. What did she put up? Like 44? So she's putting up an extra like 14 million. Granted, it's all about distribution of damage, but you can see Lacier's damage went down because Morgan was able to put more on her back. When I did the run before, you probably saw the screenshot at the beginning, Morgan was all the way up at like 60 something million. But she really does far better. And this is, you know, it's not like Morgan's like Comet or Virna or something. She's just like a good, proper AoE mage when it comes to like her non-lord capabilities. And she kind of, in my opinion, really dwarfed Kria. Now to the good stuff, I'm gonna head back into our roster. We're gonna put all that gear from Morgan onto Iona, and let's see how Iona does. Okay, you guys, about the same point as we were at with Morgan, only the boss remains. Maybe the wall even took slightly less damage. I'm just gonna mindlessly trigger everything now. But you can see just pretty good control. I'm curious as this is stats, but as you saw last time, in my first experiment with the screenshots you saw, Iona did outpace Kria. I'm excited to see what happened here. Down goes the boss for the third and final time. And let me know in the comments, guys, if you want to see comparisons like this more often. I think it's a great way to get a sense when you're already familiar with a couple heroes to compare a new hero against them. So let's go here, let's check out the stats. And yeah, look at that. So Iona all the way up at 52 million. So something like 58 or 59 for Morgan, 52 for Iona, and somewhere in the 40s, like 45 or 46, I think, for Kria. So the sense you can get there is like Kria is not bad at all. You can also track how much damage Lacier and Reeve are doing. It's kind of a trade-off, right? But Kria is not bad at all, right? But she's, honestly, she's worse than Iona. So if you have Iona and you think Iona's the reason you're not beating whatever stage you're stuck on and you're struggling with, I don't think Kria is going to be the answer. If you just, in general, need some AoE magic damage, if you need an AoE mage, I think Kria could be the answer. However, should you blow the bank and blow all your shards on Friday or Saturday on this 10x instead of waiting for a 1+1 on Sunday? No, you definitely shouldn't. I mean, unless you love Kria's design, you think she's the coolest thing ever, you love crows, I don't know. I think if they should have just released her, but not as a 10x, because they're not going to draw the attention they're looking for. So for my final little thoughts, I want to quickly show you the gear stuff, and then we'll give a conclusion. Let's talk about just our ladies first. Obviously right now Iona's the only one wearing gear because we've just been moving the gear around, but I did want to talk about why I chose these three as a source of comparison. If we look at their ultimates, specifically with Morgan and with Kria, they kind of do this they have the special mechanic, whether it be the Storm Crow or the Curse Bombs, that provides some continuous damage, not high multiplier damage, but high quantity damage. It's coming all the time from different sources, different crows or different bombs, whatever it may be. And if you look here at the ultimate, when skilled up, a very low ult cost on Kria, very cool, 600 cost. Whereas Morgan has a very low one as well, all the way down at 500. Iona is a natural comparison as well because she's 700. So they're all in this like fairly low cost range when it comes to rage and triggering the ultimates. I think Iona was another good thing because, as you can see, every 4 attack launch triggers a starburst, dealing AoE damage around a large area, inflicting slow. It's a 2-second slow. It's also not the most potent slow at 50%, so Kria's is slightly better. However, you are getting slow from her, and she's getting that Stardo main. The reason I chose to awaken her 1 is I feel like anyone that buys Iona probably will put 1 Soulstone into her, and you can see each attack is going to trigger a Starburst, so I just thought it was a good source of comparison. Let's talk about the other people in our team. We have Lasir here. You see Awaken level 0, Broken Set here, again in some Warlord. I'll just click through if you want to pause. I went for an attack build. You see he puts up solid damage. Lasir's just, when it comes to Gear Raid 1, Lasir's just straight up good. We got to 16.4k attack, so nothing compared to Kria, right? He also has an even longer attack interval at 3.5 seconds. We got that down to 2.3 with a healthy amount of attack as well. Kind of is what it is. A similar crit rate, similar crit damage, slightly higher crit than what we put on Kria and the girls, and slightly lower crit damage. The same Rage Regen auto as you would expect. It was a fine build. These are like solid early late game builds, I would say. He's gonna wear a Nightmare Samsara. Shout out to War Guides. All the girls as well were wearing matching Tear of Starlight. I've leveled up a few. What a great artifact, as you can see. Okay, I think that was it basically for DPS. We can show you Reeve now. Reeve, I went for like a straight up tanky boy build. We put a Goddess Grace on him. I kind of wish I never triggered his ult now that I've done this run a few times, because he's like taking away damage that we could have seen how it would be distributed between the girls and Lasir. But you can see I just went for like a touch of damage by putting on a Glacier set, but HP, hunting for some attack speed. He's going to get attack speed as well from his passive. Then we went for an attack Calamity set just so we could put out some damage, but looking for HP and defense subs. Here we actually missed an HP sub, but that's some nice attack. All in all, this is a very nice Reeve build. 97.9, attack over 10k. Not much crit damage, but a low attack interval thanks to that really high attack speed. That's only going to go down a couple ticks more because he can get up to another extra 100 attack speed from his passive. So that is Reeve. And then I think it's just the healers we need to talk about. So if you waited to the end for this, you're going to get to see the cool and special sets we have. I believe I put it on Holo. Yes, I did. So this set is brand new. There are 2 new sets, so you'll see the other one when I put my video out tomorrow or Saturday. It's still not 100% clear on how you will get these sets. Is there going to be a Gear Raid 4? Are there going to be higher stages that drop these? I don't know. But this set here, without further ado, is called a Morale set, and it's very cool. When on the field, all allies deal 4% bonus damage. Does not stack. You might be underwhelmed, but think about it. If you have 5 damage dealers, that's 4% each. So you could think of it as 20% bonus damage, but it really is that little bit of elevation to all your damage dealers, to everyone really, could be the difference in winning or losing a fight, winning or losing in the arena. Little things like this, I think it's a very cool set, and I like that it doesn't stack, because then it would be super OP, but also you only have to worry about building like 1 good one, and you can move it around between heroes, or maybe 2 good ones. And then put 1 on for one team when you see fit, 1 on for another. There you can see the icon of the other set. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, Holo, there's her build. You can just look at the stats. I'll just scroll through so you can see. Lots of attack speed, lots of healing effect, or at least that's what I was going for. It's gonna be a similar thing with Elwyn. I believe I went Broken Set. Yes, I did. I could have gone Invigoration. I chose not to because I didn't want to have to worry about controlling where the bonus landed. There's our Elwyn, and then finally our 2 buffers, our 2 supports. So you see I went Broken Set with Warlord on the left for Dolores. We got some healthy 1.8k attack, decent attack speed as well. It's a fine Dolores build. Moving on, finally was Autumn, and there you go. We did put her into Mana Spring to get that Rage Regen auto all the way up to 21. That's very nice Rage Regen auto. And then yeah, you can just see her stats didn't matter, just got some attack speed on her, and gave her enough tankiness that she wouldn't die instantly from the aura of those minions that came out. Okay guys, there you have it. Morale set, that's something to look forward to. Maybe I'll pull that up so you guys can look at it while I give my final thoughts. What are my final thoughts? I think Kria is a cool hero. I'm super happy to have her in the hero pool. If I pulled her, I wouldn't be happy, but I wouldn't be upset. She doesn't like stink or anything. She's very solid. I think she looks really cool. Actually, as I talk about this, I should probably pull her up. That feels appropriate. But all in all, she's not game breaking in any capacity. Let me know in the comments if I'm totally missing something, but I don't think anything about her is special. I don't see how she isn't just at absolute best, a legendary skin version of Iona. And I do think Iona's probably better. And I think it's worth mentioning with Iona, I just brought her to A1, but if you choose to buy the Iona for $5, if you're lucky enough to get her from a pull, you can easily, you get epic soulstones from Tide at the beginning, but then all the time, I mean, it's not as frequently as I would like, but you do get epic soulstones from Guild Boss, right? You could easily get an Iona to A5, and at A5, Iona will mop the floor with Kria. At A3, increase damage from Starburst by 50%. At A5, increases the ultimate duration by 5 seconds. That is nuts, so it's gonna go up another 25% from 20 seconds to 25 seconds. And she's way easier to skill up. It's not some crazy investment to skill up an epic champion. I'm super unimpressed by Kria, and I don't, like, in that capacity, I should say. And I really don't understand what they're going for, because if we pull up Iona, if you guys are unaware, Iona's base attack is basement, 3446. It is less than 3,500 attack. Kria is all the way up there over 5,200, but it kind of all comes down to multipliers in the end. And yeah, I guess my final thought on Kria, if you want to go for it, I do not think you should. I'm going to say that definitively now. If you're that desperate for an AoE mage, I think you should look into like Lightlock and stuff to get you through that next content, and save your summons for if they ever do a 10x on Comet or Virna again. They haven't done one on Comet, or again on Virna, or maybe there's going to be another new hero, who even knows. I just don't think it's worth it at all. And I don't like that I can't, let me know, I was not seeing any cool animations with crows or anything. It was really hard for me to feel like I was in control of the fight at all. Okay guys, this video turned out pretty long, but I hope it was really useful. I was thorough. Shortly after this video goes live, I will have a very short video, I promise, just with a short Fasty's thoughts on which banners to go for. You can probably guess what I'm gonna say. Anyway, I've been Fastidious. Thank you so much for watching. Like the video, subscribe, comment. Guys, this test server stuff takes so much time. Like building out those heroes, leveling the stuff, trying out runs, trying out team comps. It takes hours every time I want to do a test server video. So if you appreciate it, please show it by showing some love to the video. Share it with your mother, of course. I've been Fastidious. I'll see you in the next one.
Fastidious.